going on? Welcome back to WrestleCinema, a podcast following pro wrestlers who get into the world of acting. As always, I'm your host, Joe. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, you name it, at TheHomieJoeBro. And you can follow the podcast on all the content that we do, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the podcast itself, everything at the handle at WrestleCinema. It's been a minute. I, have put it out that I'm like, I want to do bi-weekly episodes so I have enough time to really get there and do what I want in terms of research and everything like that. But it has been a month, give or take, since our last episode. And here we are. We're back. We got some more wrestling, movie, TV show content for you. Of course, we're following the filmography of John Cena, one of my favorite wrestlers. And on this episode, it's a little different. We're going to be focusing on 3 of John Cena's first appearances on television that isn't just, wrestling, obviously. His first actual roles in some TV shows. We got 3 of them today. We got, in 2010, he had 3 episodes that he was featured in for 3 different shows. The first one, Psych, a big show that was on USA for quite a while. They've recently been doing a lot of movies on Peacock because, it was a big show back in the day for this time during the 2008, 2010, during that era. And then we got John Cena having 2 small cameos in True Jackson VP, a Nickelodeon show. And then he gets to Disney Channel and he's very, very briefly on Hannah Montana, one of the biggest shows at that time. So we're going over that. We're going to talk about those cameos. We're going to talk about what John Cena does in those. Excuse any background noise that you might hear because I have my window open. It is hot as hell in New York City. I'm kidding. It's not that hot, but it's hot enough in my room as I record. So hopefully not too much background noise. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Sorry again for the mini hiatus. Didn't expect to do that, but hey, it's been a bit of a busy month since we last filmed our last episode, which was on 12 rounds. If you're new to this podcast somehow and you find me, go check out our episode on 12 rounds. Go check out our episode on the Marine. And we're going through John Cena's filmography. Eventually, we might take a break and start doing some other movies that are a little bit relevant. Or just, if I want to take a break from the Cena filmography. But there's so much. And we're going to get through every bit that I find important. But yeah, I decided to do these 3 cameos that he's in. It's just going to be me on this episode, by the way, just because I didn't want anyone to have to sit down and get through these episodes because they're not that important. But hey, we're doing it. I'm excited just to have more stuff to talk about because, hey, who else is doing a podcast that's focusing on wrestlers turn actors? Who else is doing it but me? I'm the number 1 podcast for that. Let's be real, right? I think I'm the only one. I hope so. But hey, we're going to talk about some other things too before we get into the major part of the episode, which is John Cena cameos. We're going to talk about, just regular things as well. As it's clear, this is a movie podcast / wrestling podcast. So let me give you my takes on wrestling in the last month, my movies that I've been seeing and shows that I've seen in the last month, and then we'll get on to the rest of the show. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, as I imagine you would be since you're listening to my podcast, if you want the latest news, if you want some cool clips, if you want to see some really good stuff, if you just want to get reliable information from a source that's getting it from the top sources, check out WrestleBuzz. If you're familiar with my content, then you know who WrestleBuzz is. That's the homie Joey. He has WrestleBuzz, and he's always posting on Twitter and on Instagram with, cool news, photos, clips from WWE, AEW, anything that he finds interesting in the wrestling world that a lot of people will find interesting. Go check out WrestleBuzz, and they've got great content. On Instagram, it's at WrestleBuzz, 2 Z's. And then on Twitter, it's at WrestleBuzz with 3 Z's. They couldn't get that 2 Z's, but hey, 3 Z's on the Twitter. Yeah, go give him a listen. He has a great podcast as well when he has a time. It's WrestleBuzz Radio, and he'll do a weekly breakdown of what just happened in the last week of professional wrestling, all the wrestling news, predictions, really great stuff. So go check out the homie Joey at WrestleBuzz on Twitter and Instagram for great wrestling content. Okay, so if you just heard that, that was me promoting one of my boys. And I'm going to promote people here and there. No one's paying me for ads or anything like that quite yet. We'll continue to, do more episodes. Maybe we'll get some sponsors on here. But in the meantime, I'm going to promote people that I really enjoy their work. So if you randomly hear me doing a little ad out of nowhere, that's not a real ad until it becomes one. But I'm just promoting people I enjoy, their content, their work. Of course, my buddy Joey from WrestleBuzz promoting his stuff. More people will get promoted as ways to put little, ads in here. If I ever get big enough for Patreon, we'll do ad free over there, whatever. And if anyone who I promote on here does listen to my stuff and it's like, hey, I didn't ask for you to do that, it's okay, I'll take it out. But I just want to promote my buddies. Anywho, what has been going on lately? So in the wrestling world, we'll talk briefly on that. Then we'll get on with some movie talk, and then we'll talk about the John Cena cameos. Wrestling has been fun, not gonna lie. It's been a good time to be a wrestling fan. This past weekend, we just had King of the Ring, and we had Double or Nothing from AEW. So King of the Ring, really good. Some amazing things happened. Gunther is our King of the Ring, and Nia Jax is the Queen of the Ring, which was really cool. Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes went against each other, had a banger. Logan Paul had a crazy, crazy frog splash from the top rope to a table, getting Cody, and he had a great drone footage. Just remember that shot that he had when he was in Saudi against Roman? Yeah, he basically did the same thing now in Jeddah with Cody Rhodes, but they had a drone footage, dude, 360. Incredible stuff. This was a really good show from what I watched. I really had fun watching it. And I think WWE has really been doing a lot of fun stuff. Right now, we've been getting a lot of teasers for possibly Uncle Howdy and maybe the quote unquote Wyatt Six, which would be like a faction of people that, have some form of who are familiar with Bray, RIP, or, like just spooky characters, you want to say, or weird characters. So the rumors are it's going to be Uncle Howdy, Dexter Loomis, maybe Alexa Bliss or Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, who's apparently been signed with the company. Who's the other guy? Joe Gacy, and maybe I'm missing someone, but that might be the Wyatt Six right there. We've been getting so many teasers, as I already mentioned. My boy Joey's been all on top of it, just he loves this stuff. He's a big Bray guy, so he loved that they're doing this, especially when they originally did it when Bray was returning. So this is all cool and very exciting stuff. All the tags, all the QR codes, all the glitches. WWE is really fun with that. I'm really enjoying this direction that we've had. I think I mentioned in my last pod, WWE used to be the bane of my existence as a wrestling fan for years, especially in college and afterwards. Until AEW came, wrestling wasn't as fun for me as it used to be. But now WWE is really killing it right now, and I love that. I'm happy to see it. Still got my own personal beefs with them. I wanted to let that go, but hey, still a big fan, nonetheless, of what's really happening on, what's happening on the shows. I still don't watch quite as much because there's too much wrestling all the time, but I am loving what I am seeing. Before that, they had Backlash. Backlash happened like the day before my birthday in Paris, and I've never seen a crowd that excited to have wrestling ever. There was probably if there's a Hall of Fame for a crowd, the Paris crowd, the France crowd is getting it. Incredible stuff. The Backlash France crowd, just amazing. And I thought, the year before that, the Backlash crowd for Puerto Rico was really good. But man, this is incredible what they've done here. So amazing stuff on the WWE front. Really don't have too much to say. I have no issues. I mean, maybe my favorite thing right now is, with the King and Queen of the Ring, they finally did something to make it a little bit more important going forward. And the King and Queen, the winners, will be receiving a title shot at SummerSlam this year, which is really cool because, every time, and it hasn't, like, King of the Ring for the last 10, however long it's been around, since before it started made stars like Stone Cold, Triple H, whatnot, felt very meh. Like Sheamus won it, Wade Barrett won it, no Xavier Woods won it, and he loved the King of the Ring, but they never really did much with them, and it was just a gimmick that they would have, and that was it. But now these winners will actually get a title shot at SummerSlam, which is really cool. I'm excited for that. I mean, Gunther versus Cody or Gunther versus Damian Priest, either or could be really cool. Damian, if he loses the title, I'll be a little bit sad. But hey, I mean, I kind of want Gunther to go after Cody. I don't think Cody needs a long reign. The boy X3 has always been saying it for a while. Cody, maybe he could hold the belt until SummerSlam and then, he's gone. They take the belt off of him because Cody doesn't need the title. He won it already, but he doesn't need a long run. And God forbid if we ever get a giant, giant long run again like we do with Roman, but it'll probably be decades before that happens. I'm saying that now. Who knows? And then Nia Jax, she could either go against Bayley or Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan just won the belt at King and Queen of the Ring. Very interesting stuff that we're seeing there. She won it with the help of Dom, but it was like not supposed to happen. Dom was trying to stop her from winning it because he has beef, obviously, because the Rhea Ripley stuff. I don't even know why I'm regurgitating the stuff. If you're watching wrestling, you know. But the biggest thing that happened since her winning the belt is she made out with Dom at the end of Raw. That part of the feed got cut on the USA Network, and just crazy that happened. But that just happened. But it was all over Twitter because they did get the feed up and put it there. But yeah, crazy. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley drama now with the, her kissing Dom. What's going to happen? We saw a couple weeks ago, she had like what looked like Dom's bandana in there, or at least a purple bandana, obviously thinking of Dom. So who knows? Who knows? If you're paying attention, you see what's happening. Interesting stuff on that front. But yeah, besides that, man, the bloodline is still doing its thing. We got Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa over there. Jacob Fatu has apparently been signed, and he's like hiding out. No one knows what's happening with Jacob Fatu yet. They're probably making sure he's good to go, because I know for a long time WWE didn't, they looked at him as like a hazard to have, but with Triple H is taking shots on people, man. He's really taking chances. I would just love if he took a chance on me. Just saying. But yeah, so interesting to see the little bloodline stuff that's going on. I just really don't have too much time to watch WWE, especially because bloodline stuff happens Fridays. We're in the summer now. I'm busy. I'm busy on a Friday night majority of the time. But when I do get to tune in, I'm enjoying it. And that'll be interesting to see what happens there. One last note on WWE before I quickly get into AEW, and then I talk about the movies I've seen. Man, what's going on with LA Knight? I feel like LA Knight is kind of just, he had so much hype for him in the last year. Maybe it's just because I'm not watching SmackDown enough, but I just feel like we don't get any LA Knight at all. And I know he's on SmackDown. If he was on Raw, maybe it'd be a little bit more, prevalent of, seeing him and whatnot. But I don't know. Feels like they're letting his success kind of go down, but I could be very wrong. Maybe he does have some opportunities. And, a lot of people have been saying, hey, Logan Paul should drop the belt to LA Knight. Would be cool. But we'll see. Cleveland, Ohio, SummerSlam would be the opportune time. But we're going to see. But yeah, that's my things on WWE. June 28th, their SmackDown's at MSG, but I probably won't get to go. But June 30th, going into AEW, is Forbidden Door. And I will be going to that with my homie Quade. Very much looking forward to Forbidden Door. I've always wanted to go to it. It's just sad we're going to be missing certain people. Like it was announced today, Edge broke his tibia because he did a crazy spot at Double or Nothing at the barbed wire steel cage match where he jumped off the top of the cage, but instead of like doing a splash or anything like that, he basically landed on his feet and like fucked himself up. I don't know why. 50-year-old man, and he even says it in the video. He's like, why did I do that? Stupid decision. But yeah, sad that he's injured now. He's going to need surgery. He'll probably be out until, maybe the end of fall. Who knows? I don't really know what a broken fibia injury looked like, but hey, it's hopefully speedy recovery. I love me some Adam Copeland, some Edge. Hoping for the best, but now, yeah, TNT title's probably going to get vacated. Would love to see who that's going to go to. Could have went to Malachi Black. I'm just saying. I know Adam Copeland didn't need to win that last match. Now that he's injured, I bet Tony Khan's like, huh. But who knows? I'm hoping they give it to either Malachi or like someone new, or if there's going to be maybe like a match for it or something, like Malachi should be one of the the people who are going for it, since he just was in the title picture. But who knows? Maybe they'll settle it on a Dynamite, or maybe they're going to settle it at Forbidden Door, which would be cool because I'm excited to see what happens there. AEW, Will Ospreay, new international champion. I'm excited about that. Will Ospreay right now is probably my number one favorite wrestler at the moment. It's like a mix between him and Moxley. Very excited that Will Ospreay won a belt. That is cool. I want to see. I've never seen Ospreay live. I've had chances, but couldn't do it. But man, I'm so excited to see Ospreay live. So that'll be cool. Very interested to see maybe who on the New Japan side they'll give him. Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, TBS champion. Mixed reactions from the crowd I saw, because she's playing a bit of a in-betweener right now. She's a face but a heel, kind of, because not everyone loves her, and obviously she won against Willow, and it's like one of them has to be kind of a heel, and of course it was Mercedes. But yeah, Mercedes now TBS champ. Should be interesting to see what goes on there. Chris Statlander turned on Willow, so did Stokely. That will be interesting to see Chris Statlander being a heel. I'm excited about that. MJF is back. I just want to say, very crazy when there was a time where Twitter was, over the last couple of months, were like, oh, MJF hasn't been here. I'm so happy. The product is so much better that MJF isn't here. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Maybe, am I naive or something? Am I just like out of touch with what's good? Because sure, the Devil feud really kind of started getting a little bit meh. I mean, the MJF face turn for that time wasn't bad either, to be honest, but some people really didn't like it, I'm guessing, or now that it's over, but that's just wrestling fans, especially on Twitter anyway. Things, now that things are gone, people are like, oh, hey, let's say MJF sucks, because MJF doesn't suck. Sure, some of the times his promos are a copy and paste of, oh, you got a dead relative, or, you got problems at home. I'm going to make fun of it. That used to be like the typical MJF shtick. But hey, MJF is back. He has a tattoo saying that he's going to bet on himself. AEW chips on there. So he's definitely re-signed with the company. I don't know how long that contract could be. It could be for 3 to 5 years. I think Omega and the Bucks signed a 5-year deal. The Elite signed a 5-year deal. So I wouldn't be surprised that they got him for 5 years. Good amount of money. And he's so young. He could go to WWE anytime. But hey, anything is possible. MJF is with AEW for the, foreseen future. And I am happy about that, because I want all my wrestling to grow. I want all wrestling to be good. I want competition. I want plenty of things to watch. I like that my problem when it is wrestling right now is there's too much to watch and I can't watch it all. That's a good problem to have when it comes to being a wrestling fan. So MJF staying with AEW. I'm a fan. Let's see what he does with Adam Cole. I'm hoping for a really cool grudge match at Forbidden Door. It's going to be in Long Island. So, of course, you're going to need MJF, and him having a really top feud continued out with Adam Cole now being the heel. Excited to see what happens there. Hopefully Adam is fully healed and good to go. Final thoughts. Anarchy at the Arena was crazy. It is impressive that AEW continues to improve and outdo themselves after each time they do this match. Even like the Stadium Stampede, they find a way to up the ante, and it's kind of crazy that they can. I mean, they literally lit Jungle Boy Jack Perry on fire. Insane. And then they had Darby Allin hanging above the ring like a rotisserie chicken. And then they hit him with barbed. I mean, with their their Reebok pumps with thumbtacks on them while he's hanging up there. Insane. Oh, by the way, I gotta look at and see if I can maybe buy a pair of those Reebok pumps. I've always wanted pumps. Young Bucks pumps, maybe not. I don't know. We'll check and see if they're still up there. But impressive. Just a crazy match. So crazy. I was so scared for Darby. I'm like, oh God, the worst can possibly happen from this. But luckily, he is all good. Oh, it is. Oh no, wait. I'm on the Reebok site. I'm trying to look up these pumps while I'm on air while I'm recording this. Let's see. Pumps. Are the shoes still available? They are here. Oh my, they have sold out of my size, so I don't think I'm getting a pair. They have a 10, but I'm not a 10. I'm more like I'm a 10 and a half / 11, but yeah, it doesn't look like I'm getting a pair. Oh boy. People might be reselling these. It's not that important. I mean, I'm looking at the sneaker. You can look yourself. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. The Young Bucks are big into these flashy, like over the top colors that like kind of just don't go with each other. They're very big, like 90s kind of vibes, but like unless I'm wearing all black, I really can't see myself rocking them well. And then they are like a what's the word I'm looking for? They got a suede finish to them, which I don't love suede on my sneakers too much because sometimes you could fuck up suede so easily, especially when they get wet. So maybe it's a good thing I'm not getting these sneakers for now. We'll see. Maybe resellers are never going to be nice about their prices. But hey, maybe I'll just get regular pumps. I could still get regular pumps. They're not too expensive. But where was I? AEW. One sad thing though, Eddie Kingston might be gone for a year now. He broke his leg, from what I remember. Well, as I'm saying this, I could just Google it too, but he is injured, and that is sad because he is so damn good. I love Eddie Kingston. I know there's a people out there on Twitter that are not a fan of him, which I think you're just ridiculous. If you're not a fan of Eddie Kingston, you just don't know real graps. That's all I know. That's all I'm getting from you. You don't know graps, bro, if you're not a fan of Kingston. But he is injured for what looks to be a year. I wish him a speedy recovery. Edge. In the Kenny Omega, I was really hoping we'd get him for Forbidden Door, but it's probably not going to happen too. So yeah, that's my AEW talk. Now, quickly, let's get into some of the things that I've watched over the past month. I've watched a lot of different things. We're gonna do a little speed round. Abigail is a movie I watched. That's the movie where it's a heist movie that turns into a vampire movie out of nowhere. The movie, honestly, not that bad. I want to compare it to like a Madrigan. Wacky idea, wacky concept, but actually not bad when you're actually watching it. The ending is what really ruined it for me, so that's my problem. The ending feels rushed, sloppy, just stupid. But anywho, Abigail, I give it like a 2.5, but it's a 2.5 where I say, hey, give it a watch. I enjoyed the hell out of it. You can go watch it. Another movie I give it 2.5, but I really liked it, and it's such a stupid movie. It's Jason X. Jason X, Nightmare on Elms. I mean, not Nightmare. Friday the 13th. Jason Voorhees, but he's in space, and it's like 1,000 years or 300 years into the future, whatever the case is. They're in space, and it is such a stupid movie, but I fucking love it. It is so great. Jason is, he's freezed. Like, they freeze him, and then someone, of course, unfreezes him, and then he's causing havoc, and then he gets like a fucking upgrade. It's incredible stuff. Jason X, highly recommend, because it's stupid, and if you like stupid things, and you can learn to just... My biggest thing is I'm a fan of movies where you could just turn your brain off and enjoy. Not all the time you can do that, like Madam Web, but hey, Jason X, highly recommend. Just hit my mic. I watched all of the last trilogy of the Planet of the Apes leading up to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So I saw Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Really good. Those movies right there. I mean, I gave Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn like a 5 out of 5. Those were incredible to me. I thought Caesar was one of the best characters that we've seen in movies in quite some time. I mean, the emotion from a CGI ape, it's incredible. Like the VFX team, they carry this movie for visual stuff, of course, but the scripts too were really good. I'm a big fan of those movies. Highly recommend. Same with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Being 7 years later since the last one, I recommend it. It's just as good. Mad Max Fury Road, watch that for the first time. I give that like 4 out of 5 stars. Really good. It's one of those movies for the longest time I've always heard like you should watch it or it's pretty good. Um, I finally gave it a try. Holy crap, that was incredible. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it to people. Go give it a watch. What else did I see? I rewatched all of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I love them. It's very simple to say. I look at Spider-Man 1 as my favorite, one of the quintessential um, comic book movies just ever. It is a very simple story. You see like a character really grow and develop from the beginning to the end. I enjoyed it. Spider-Man 2 also amazing. I still like Spider-Man 1 more, but really good. And Spider-Man 3 guilty pleasure. I know a lot of people either love it or hate it. I'm on the love side. I enjoyed it and I think just an amazing trilogy overall, and it holds up to this day. What else did I see? If I didn't already say this in my last episode, Rebel Moon, I watched part one, I watched part two, and that movie sucks. It's just easy to say it sucks. I'm sorry, Zack Snyder, but your shit recently, especially this, sucked, man. I like Zack Snyder. I'm not one of those Zack Snyder cinephiles, but man, that shit sucked. What didn't suck though, I give it like a 4.5 out of 5. Fallout, the TV show, amazing. I have only played like an hour of Fallout 3, and I only started playing it because of the show. Really good work there. I enjoy the hell out of that. The characters are cool. The world is cool. I'm excited that they're getting a season 2. Highly recommend watching Fallout if you haven't already. I watched Challengers about a week or 3 weeks ago with my lady. That movie is surprisingly pretty good. I was not expecting it to be good, but it was. That was surprisingly good. You know, I went in there for Zendaya. I've been telling people, and I came out maybe a little gay because man, it is impressive what they do with that movie. That is, I might have been like one of like a handful of straight men that were in that movie. The rest, bunch of gay dudes. But hey, that's all cool. It was just like that movie got pretty gay, but that was fun. That was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I really want to watch it again, honestly, with people because I think beyond the very tense sexual tension between Zendaya and the two main characters of John O'Connor and Mike Feist. Those are real names. But their sexual chemistry and tension. Beyond that, the script itself pretty solid with the just the it made me care about tennis. Never cared about tennis once before, but this movie actually made me care about tennis. So it was just great stuff overall. I saw Furiosa just recently. That just came out. Just as good as Mad Max. I lie. I like Mad Max Fury Road just a little bit more than Furiosa, but Furiosa is really good. My only problem, it feels long at times. Like they could have cut some stuff out, but the world that they're creating is really cool. The story building, the characters. Chris Hemsworth in this movie was amazing. He doesn't put the movie on his back, but man, like if they would have used someone else, I don't know if I would love the character as much. Chris Hemsworth killed it in this movie. Big fan. Saw The Fall Guy. That I expected a little bit more, honestly. I didn't love it. I'm giving it like a 3 out of 5 stars. I think if it didn't have Ryan Gosling, the movie wouldn't be as enjoyable as it was. He really hard carries it, but hey, pretty solid movie. I just wish for a movie about a stuntman, there would have been better stunts or more stunts in this movie. But hey, I think it was pretty solid. Just a 3 out of 5. And another 3 out of 5 movie that I just watched last night, Godzilla and Kong, the new Empire. I look at it as like Godzilla minus one is like, it just came out a couple months before, Kong and Godzilla. Godzilla minus one is Oppenheimer. Godzilla and Kong, the new Empire, is Barbie. Or like, minus one is Dark Knight, and Godzilla and Kong is like Ant-Man. Like the tone is just completely different. And obviously, I'm not here to compare the two, but you will naturally compare them when Godzilla minus one is probably one of my favorite movies of 2023. But Godzilla and Kong, I mean, it is a perfect shut your brain off and just watch these titans go to war. It was crazy. There was some fun stuff. Godzilla hit a suplex on Kong. Kong uses a baby as a weapon, a baby gorilla. Let me put that in there. A baby gorilla as a weapon. I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time. Wish I saw it in theaters. Watched it at home instead. Recommend when it gets on streaming. It'll be on Max at least in a month or two from now. Go give it a watch. And yeah, I think the last thing I just have to say is I watched X-Men 97. I never fully watched the original X-Men show from the 90s, but I watched a bunch of synopsis and, breakdowns leading up to this. Really good. That show, animation on point, the characters, you feel for all of them. They do a great job on that. They're excited to see. And now with the success of that show, they've greenlit the X-Men movie. So excited to see what's going to happen there. Deadpool and Wolverine is coming up very soon in about a month and a half from now. I'm excited. It is a good time for movies and shows. There's so much to watch. And yeah, if you ever want to see any of my movie or show reviews, I do have Strictly Nonsense on Instagram at Strict Nonsense. I do have a TikTok as well. Make some little content there. I don't do the podcast anymore. Maybe one day we'll bring it back, but we're working it. We're focusing on this podcast. So we got all that. So yeah, check out at Strict Nonsense on Instagram and TikTok for any of my reviews. And that's pretty much it. I think we can move on with the John Cena cameo episode. Let's do it. Okay, we got our John Cena cameos. Like I said at the top of the show, John Cena did 3 guest appearance for 3 different shows. The first one that we're going to go with is Psych. Then he does True Jackson VP and then Hannah Montana. So let's start off with Psych. If you're not familiar with Psych, Psych was was a hit TV show for the USA Network for a good, I want to say 5-6 years. How many years did Psych survive? Let's see. 2006 to 2014. Wow. That almost went for 10 years. That went about 8 years. Impressive. And now they have 3 Peacock movies. So they did pretty well for themselves. 8 seasons. You can go find it on Peacock or Amazon Prime. So go check that out. My grandmother has been, I think she just watched the entire show recently, but I remember she was watching a lot of it this last month and a half. Anywho, so Psych. What is Psych? Here's the synopsis I got from IMDb. When a novice sleuth convinces the police he has psychic powers, he and his reluctant best friend are hired as consultants to help solve complicated cases. So pretty much, a white dude pretends to be a psychic, and him and his friend are hired by the police department to be consultants on a bunch of cases. And hey, I used to watch this show a bit when I was a kid. I remember during the time, I'd sometimes watch it on USA or it was on Ion or My Nine, probably. This was a show it's a popular show back then. And I watched it for a bit. I enjoyed it as a kid. And now, especially after watching the John Cena episode, I'm like, damn, I don't know if I really love this show. Or at least, I don't know if I could stand, what's his name? I believe his name is Sean. That character is a bit annoying. Yeah, Sean is the main character. He's the fake psychic guy. He's really good at, finding things and seeing a room and just figuring things out. But he's a bit annoying. But he's one of those characters. He's just one of those. But the episode summary. So here we go. Sean and Gus go undercover at a military base when Juliet's brother is accused of murdering one of his fellow officers. I think that episode summary is a bit wrong because the one that is accusing Juliet's brother is Sean. Sean is the one that's accusing him. 1, he's a little jealous of him that you see during the episode. And 2, he's noticing some things about him that don't seem right. That's the thing that's going on here. So yeah, season 4, episode 10, This episode aired January 27th, 2010. This was like the season premiere for Psych, but I think it was like the season return, when some shows like they'll take a little hiatus for like in the middle of a season, or like during the holidays they'll take a break and then they'll come back and they'll like, oh, like season premiere or whatever. That's what they were promoting it, because I did watch some of the promotional material for this, because Psych and WWE kind of did a trade off where it's like John Cena got to be on one of their episodes, but then, they had the Psych cast and John Cena interact a little bit on Raw, and they had him a special guest host during that special host era. So that was a little bit of a thing. This episode's called "You Can't Handle the Truth," and it made me think of remember in WrestleMania 21 when WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, and they did all those promos of like movies, and they had people doing certain scenes. So like, this made me think of John Cena and JBL when they did that scene from A Few Good Men. Let me play that for you so you could hear that.
I have just one more question, Colonel. If you gave an order that Orlando Jordan was not to interfere in your match, and your orders were always followed, then why were Doug and Danny Basham at ringside, putting the Big Show in danger?
Orlando posed no threat to my opponent. I never said anything about Danny or Doug.
That's not what you said. You said there'd be no interference.
That's correct, but
I said he was in no danger. I said grave danger. You said, is there any other type of danger?
I recall what I said.
I can have the court reporter read it back to you if you want.
I know what I said. I don't have to have it read back to me like I'm some kind of child.
Why were the Bashams at ringside? Colonel?
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
No, sir. You made it clear just a moment ago your men never take matters in their own hands. Your men follow orders or you lose the championship. So Orlando and Doug and Danny Basham should have stayed away from ringside. Am I right, Colonel?
You snotty little bastard.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
Enough, or I'll hold you in contempt.
Did you order the Bashams to interfere?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to them.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
So yeah, it just reminded me of that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to break down some of the things of these episodes and just talk about it. I'm really just trying to focus on John Cena's attitude and how he was and how his acting was in the show. We start off like the show with a little building of certain things. Sean is a child, and I think all the episodes start off with Sean as a child, but that's not really important. Sean sees, we get to like Sean as an adult, and we're in real time, we're in the present day of the show, and they see like a military guy, and he's basically hung himself, but Sean can identify that it doesn't look like he hung himself. It looks like it was actually a murder. And then we cut to John Cena, and he's running, he's chasing some guy. John Cena's a part of a special military team up team. I don't even know what I'm saying. He's a part of some secret organization run by the military, some special ops kind of deal. And we get John Cena. He's getting a call from his sister, who is the female lead cop that Sean helps out. And Sean is interested in her. And her sister's John Cena. We didn't know. John's running, trying to run away from some people because now he's getting shot. And she's saying, oh, we need your help. There's a military death going on. He's like, yeah, I can help you. I'll be there like today. Because, he's running and he's doing a mission. And little do we know, he's somewhat involved with part of this mission. John Cena, we finally get John Cena in a moment where he's interacting with his sister and Sean and Gus, the main characters. And John Cena is just, being John Cena. He's playing the classic comedic style that will become the John Cena we know in acting today. I need my window open, but I hate that I got so many sirens and crap in the background. I'm probably not even going to edit that part. I mean, I was talking, so I'm not redoing that. Anywho, we're keeping it real. We're doing it live, pal. Anywho, John Cena, classic comedian style that we'll get from a lot of his roles currently. John Cena, he's doing that little over the top, the little, like, it's just the classic, like, John Cena joking around bits that we're getting. But he also tries to be a bit of a serious guy because he's a CIA, special ops. He's something. So he has to be serious at some moments. So there's some stuff here that you could tell that it's just this is the first real amount of comedy acting we're getting from Cena as well, beyond like what we've seen in WWE. So Cena's doing his thing. He's doing his comedic role. This is his first real comedic role, and I think he does a good job. But of course, a bit of it, like I picture some of the things John Cena does as a comedic actor, and I look at it, I'm like, if I was told to act and be funny, I'd kind of follow what John Cena's doing because it's not bad because it does work because it's Cena. John Cena has it that it helps that he is a funny guy. It's also funny because he's so fucking brolic. He's a big dude. So him just being a comedic guy and he's this big guy makes it a little bit funnier too. He's one of those. But like it's not like what he's doing is very unique. It's very over the top esque. It's very much like it doesn't feel forced, but it's not as natural as you would like. But I feel like that's also kind of what John Cena's done. Like John Cena's like if he was like doing stand up, it's just he has very much sitcom vibes to him. Maybe that's the best way to describe John Cena's comedic acting. I'm shocked that John Cena hasn't had his own sitcom yet. It's only a matter of time, right? I mean, right now he's doing a lot of Hollywood big time movies. He's doing a lot of like streaming movies. It's only a matter of time before John Cena becomes a sitcom guy, I feel. John Cena would be a good sitcom guy because that is the presence he gives in his acting. He's like, and when you see him too in WWE right now, well, in his last run, he has gone through acting classes and whatnot, and he has not lost any of it. John Cena is very much a sitcom guy. That's what I'm trying to get at. So let's go back to the episode. Some funny things that I noticed. So they have to go to a military base because obviously there was a military death. They get to talk to a general, and that general is played by Robert Patrick. The guy that was the main villain of the Marine. John Cena and him reunite, which was kind of cool. I thought it was very interesting that John Cena and Robert Patrick reunite only like a couple years later, and then they're going to reunite again when it's for Peacemaker. So very funny that they reunite. Robert Patrick is playing Major General Phelps, which I'm confused. Is he a general? Is he a major? It's a bit ridiculous. Robert Patrick's character is a very stereotypical, over-the-top, I'm a military guy and I'll live and die by this. You make a joke, but I almost died. I know people that die on the battlefield kind of guy. He's one of those. So very interesting to see that they brought them together. And I like Robert Patrick in this. He's a funny guy. I recommend seeing some of the clips that have him in that episode. He plays a very good over the top, overkill, guy in this role. What else I'm trying to see? There's some I feel like intentionally cringe moments from both John Cena and Robert Patrick. I enjoyed it. Still, I give a pass. Maybe it's just because John Cena is my number one guy, but some of it I just give a pass. And this is his first comedic role, so I expect some of that. I thought it was pretty funny that there are some wrestling references in this episode. They reference Kamala at one point. Monday Night Raw is referenced. Like John Cena and the Gus and Sean, they're in military uniform. They're sneaking onto the base for some late night investigating. And they see some guys they need to take out. And John Cena's like, oh, we got to take them out. And then Gus and Sean are talking to each other. He's like, oh, you mean like, oh shit, I think I could get some WWE Monday Night Raw tickets from this one guy I know or something like that. I just thought it was funny, of course, because it's John Cena and they're partnering with the WWE for this bid and whatnot. Pretty funny that they're mentioning wrestling. Cena turns out that this entire time Sean's a little suspicious of him because Cena's getting in the way of the things that they're trying to do to figure out who killed this guy. And turns out it's because Cena's job is really to be like a military cleanup guy, so the military doesn't get blamed for things. If I remember correctly, like the guy died accidentally or something. I'm butchering it. Honestly, this episode was meh, but we'll continue about meh episodes as we continue here. But John Cena is basically the military's cleanup guy. If the military does something wrong, or someone does something wrong in the military, and they don't want it to get, out, John Cena is there to cover things up. So John Cena tries to kill this one guy who's the arms dealer. There's a whole big arms deal going on within the military to bad guys, and I guess the military found out about it, or somebody got suspicious as well. And that's how that one officer ended up getting killed. And then they made it look like a suicide. But yeah, Cena's there to cover it up so none of this gets out, because obviously it would be a bad thing. Sean and Gus, Sean has been accusing John Cena to be the killer. Little did he know he's not the killer, but he's just a military cleanup guy. And then John Cena's sister, the lady cop, she shows up and she is disappointed and she is not happy, and she arrests her brother. She arrests John Cena, and she's not happy about it, of course. We get to the end of the episode where John Cena is supposed to be going on a bus to prison, but instead he never shows up. Why? Well, the military gets him out of it. The army, of course, will cover it up. And that's pretty much it. We don't see what John Cena is doing. We don't get one of those stereotypical cliche moments where the guy that's supposed to be in prison isn't there, but he calls and it just say I love you, I'm sorry, blah, blah. None of that. We just don't get John Cena again until Psych does a Peacock special movie, straight to streaming movie for Psych. And this is apparently, spoiler alert, Sean and the lady cop, they get married. They become an item, I imagine, in the show. And then this movie takes place around their wedding. And we get John Cena returning for a 2-minute cameo where he's running away from a giant SWAT team, and he sees Gus and Sean, gives them a big hug, gives Sean a gift for the wedding. And then he's like, oh, you guys got a back door. And then they start shooting up the store that they're at, the office of Sean and Gus for their psychic power, client consulting thing. And yeah, that's basically the end of that movie. And it was John Cena reprising his role. I don't want to watch this movie, but at some point I might have to at least revisit it, because Charlotte Flair is apparently in that movie, and I had no clue until I looked at the IMDb. So, yeah, that is your John Cena Psych cameo. I tried my best for this. I tried my best for True Jackson VP and for Hannah Montana to figure out any cool behind-the-scenes information, some lore, anything. Nothing. There is really nothing for the Psych episode, the John Cena. Any of these cameos don't have really anything to talk about. The biggest thing was John Cena and Psych having that relationship, WWE and Psych, because then, the two main actors do pop up on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, that is John Cena's first appearance on a TV show, and his first semi-comedic role. And I understand that John Cena will inevitably become a comedic actor from what we're seeing here, and he plays the part well. He's that comedy actor who could play a comedy scene, do a comedy scene in one moment, and then try and be serious in the next. And it's the presence of him being a big guy helps in both of those. It's funny because John Cena is a funny guy, but it's also funny because he's a big dude. And then you could take him serious in certain moments because he's a big, strong dude. So I get it. So that was his first cameo, his first guest role. And then he has a guest role in True Jackson VP. True Jackson VP was a Nickelodeon show that lasted for a bit. That was one of Nickelodeon's top shows for a while. This episode aired April 3rd, 2010. This is season 2, episode 11, called Up All Night. That's what's on IMDb, but on the site that I had to use to watch this, because this is not available on Paramount Plus, it's called Pajama Party. So I'm confused because both are very relevant to the name of the show, but they're named differently, but I'm going to go with IMDb because it's IMDb. What is True Jackson VP for the people who are too old to know what this is? True Jackson VP, here's the IMDb summary. Impressed by her no-nonsense style as she sells sandwiches outside his office, fashion executive Max impulsively offers teenager True Jackson a dream job as a vice president in charge of his youth apparel line. So she's a VP for a clothing line. Pretty interesting concept for a show, I guess. And it did well. It has Keke Palmer. Everyone loves Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer's awesome. If you haven't seen Nope, she's amazing in that. But yeah, and here's your episode summary, which has nothing to do with the episode for the John Cena moments. And that's the only part I will talk about because I skim through this because I don't want to watch anything that isn't about John Cena in this episode. So the episode summary is Amanda crashes True's slumber party. So Keke Palmer's character's name is True. First name True, last name Jackson. So Amanda crashes True's slumber party where their ultra competitive side turns into a night of game playing and secret sharing into a bottle of wills. What? From what I saw, True is having a slumber party with all her high school friends. And by mistake, she invites one of her bosses, Amanda, who's a grown-ass woman who goes to the slumber party. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the other part of the episode where you have this character named Ryan. I guess he's the main guy character of the series. He has tickets to go see a movie around 10 o'clock, 10:30, I believe is the actual time. And it's a John Cena movie. He wants to go. People are like, are you sure you're going to go? You have a problem with staying up late at night. So he's like, damn, well, I don't have anyone to go with this movie with me. He tries to give his tickets away, but no one wants it. They're going to a slumber party. And then the other main boy character, dude character of the show, is played by Robbie Amell, who you might know for being the brother of Stephen Amell, aka wrestling legend, Bullet Club member, and sadly the star of a canceled wrestling show that I plan to cover on here one day. Robbie Amell is the character here. So that was cool. At least I knew who Robbie Amell was. And yeah, so this character, Ryan, is the main guy character who has the tickets for the John Cena movie, has a problem staying up. So they go watch this Cena movie. It is I'm like trying to understand what the hell the movie is. Is it a horror movie? What the hell is going on? We start off with John Cena in a car, and he looks to be playing a cop. And next thing you know, behind him in the back seat pops up a mummy, and John Cena like hits him with a back fist and knocks him out. I was completely confused on what the hell is going on. We eventually learned that the name of this movie is called Cairo Spooky, Revenge of the Mummy's Son. The tagline is, this time it's personal. It's a kid's show. You know, you got to remember it's like a kid's teen show. So I'm like, what the hell is this? The other scene we get from this movie is John Cena in a car with some girl named Trish. I'm like, are they going to get it on in this kid's show? I'm like, what's going on here? That doesn't happen. But John Cena does get a call from somebody, and he's like, what? A pharaoh is risen. And then for word, he says, he hangs up the phone. He's like, it's time to kick some tut. What? And his name in the movie is Tate Blizzard. What the fuck? I was completely confused. Anyway, movie ends. Kid stood awake for the entire movie. And then turns out John Cena is there. He is himself. So in this universe, John Cena is John Cena, and he is a WWE wrestler. So we do know that John Cena is like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to answer some questions and take photos of all you 300 fans that are here. There is not 300 people in that movie theater at all. So I don't get it. So you get the kid Ryan. He goes up to John Cena. He asks him a dumb question where he's like, in the movie, blah, 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 what was the code that you put into the briefcase? John Cena says what the code was, and the kid's like, I knew it, blah, blah, blah. He tells like Robbie Amell, like, I knew it, right? He's like, yeah, he knew it. He's like, that is the greatest question I've ever been asked. You want to go see this movie that I'm filming? I'm shooting a crazy scene with monster trucks and mummies. You guys want to come? You guys are awesome. You want to come with me? So, of course, they go. John Cena does his little scene. We don't see it because it happens off camera. And then John Cena goes up to them. He's like, oh, you guys like that? They're like, yeah, that was amazing. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you guys want to come to the secret underground hockey club? And they're like, fuck it. Yeah, we're going. Then we cut to that eventually after I've skipped many parts of this show already. And John Cena is in this underground celebrity hockey team. And we see Ellen DeGeneres, or someone who's playing Ellen DeGeneres, go by. John Cena, like, checks her and apparently knocks her or something, but she still gets up. We don't see that either. We just hear John Cena talk about it. That happens for some reason. Then John Cena's like, you guys are awesome. You know what? You guys want to be in my next movie? They're like, what? Yeah, of course. He's like, I hope you guys are ready to, do cool things and make out with supermodels. And they're like, yeah. And then that's when you figure out that this is all a dream. We cut to Ryan deep asleep, and Robbie Amell's character yells at him like, hey, get up! And it's because Ryan never made it to the movie. He fell asleep, and this was all a dream. Whoa. Which, honestly, this makes so much sense because John Cena is so over the top and ridiculous. Why the hell is he inviting these kids to hang out with him? Why is he doing all of these things? But it's because it was a dream. So you know what? John Cena gets a pass on his over-the-top comedy acting on this because it makes sense. It is a dream. Why wouldn't he be so ridiculous? Why wouldn't he be so goofy? You know it's a dream when you got John Cena playing celebrity hockey and for some reason he's wearing jeans. Not even jean shorts. Jeans. So, yeah, that was the True Jackson VP special episode that has John Cena. I tried my best again to find anything on this. All I got was a little behind the scenes moment where the cast were like, we love John. He's amazing. And it's so cool to be around him. And John saying, like, I really enjoyed being with them. They were a fun group. That was it. That was really it. It is what it is, I don't recommend people watching it. There's no need for you to. So yeah. And then our last cameo that John Cena does is the shortest one he does. So, he has a real guest spot in Psych. And then he has a couple of scenes in True Jackson VP, but Hannah Montana, he has just the one. Hannah Montana, if you don't know, which I'd be very shocked because Miley Cyrus in real life is probably one of the biggest celebrities. Well, for a good amount now, she's gone down in fame, but she's still one of the biggest musicians right now, one of the biggest artists, one of the biggest pop stars. So Hannah Montana, if you didn't know, was from 2006 to 2011, one of Disney Channel's biggest success, and it's about the adventures of a teenage pop star who keeps her identity secret from even her closest friends by using a disguise on stage. And it's like the girls' version of a superhero show because this entire time she's living a double life. She's pretending to be she's a pop star on stage, but no one in her real life knows she's really Hannah Montana, which incredible. This show did very well for Disney, did very well for Miley Cyrus, did well for her father, Billy Ray. And to be honest, I was a fan. I was a young boy watching this show. I thought it was great. Miley Cyrus, really cute, fun show. It is one of Disney Channel's best shows to ever exist. And look what it did. It made it made her a sensation. It made her one of the biggest things at that time from 2006 into like the late 2000s. And, obviously then she grew out of being a Disney star. And then like a lot of Disney stars eventually, spiral and do a lot of crazy stuff. But, she's doing pretty well for herself now. Amazing artist. Anywho, the episode summary, which I will read to you, but I have no reason to read this to you because I did not watch any of this show besides the one part of Cena's cameo. I did watch the build up to it to understand what the hell is going on, so I'll explain that. So I did see that, and then I watched one scene by mistake. I was just very confused. So the episode summary is Miley convinces Lily that she should try to ride her horse Blue Jeans. Unfortunately, during her first ride, a snake bites the horse, leading to injuries for both, including what could be fatal for Miley's beloved pet. The scene that I randomly watched is the horse on the ground, and Miley Cyrus is saying bye to the horse because the horse is about to die. The horse doesn't die, but this episode was dedicated to Miley Cyrus's really real horse that died a year before this episode. So that was cute. I see why they did it. But what we're here for. So Miley Cyrus in the show has a brother named Jackson Cyrus, played by Jason Earls, who at the time of this filming is the same age as John Cena currently. They are both 47 years old. I think at the airing of this episode, he was supposed to be 30 or something like that, but he's playing like a 15-year-old. It is crazy. It is insane how child actors or like actors who are supposed to play like teenagers, like the age gap, but there's never been such an age gap as like Jason Earls. And Jason Earls is literally the same age as John Cena, and Jason Earls' character is only supposed to be like 2 or 3 years older than Miley Cyrus. Just absurd. But anywho, he was 29 when this show started, playing a 15-year-old. So the problem that Jackson has in this is he has a really great girlfriend, pretty swimsuit girlfriend, and she wants him to read her favorite book, To Kill a Mockingbird. Jackson is from Montana and doesn't want to read because why would he? He just wants to be a dude who's not reading. So she wants him to read it. He tells her he will, but he doesn't. Instead of reading it, he decides to pick up Wrestling Insider, a random ass magazine with this guy who looks like Sinbad the comedian, and his name is Killer B. And he's reading a wrestling magazine. At one point, Jackson says he's going to read the book, then he doesn't. He falls asleep. Then he wakes up. And then he picks up the wrestling magazine again. And then he sees a photo of a guy that says, grrr. And that guy is John Cena wearing a black tank top, orange wristbands, and a headband on his bicep, classic, and jean shorts. And, he looks at the magazine, and then John Cena from the magazine says, "What are you looking at me for, you troglodyte?" If you don't know what troglodyte means, it's basically calling him stupid. I think the Webster dictionary definition is a guy that lives in a cave. So basically calling him a caveman, calling him dumb. So Jackson gets scared, closes the magazine, and then someone pats him on the shoulder. It's John Cena. He never says it's John Cena, but it's John Cena. And he's telling him, like, you got to read this book. And he's like, no, reading is hard. It's scary. It hurts. Reading hurts. He's like, reading hurts. Let me show you what hurts. And then he puts Jackson in like this weird submission hold, puts him in an airplane spin, spins him around, hits him with an AA to the ground. And then he goes around him, hits him with the "you can't see me," hits him with the 5-knuckle shuffle. And then Jackson wakes up because he was obviously dreaming. And he's like, well, I got to read that book. And then he's like, I'm going to make a sandwich first. Then we cut to the end of the episode, basically, where Jackson is talking to his girlfriend, his swimsuit bikini model girlfriend. And she's like, oh, did you read? He's like, yeah, I could say so much, but the book has so many words that can say it better. And she's like, you didn't read it? He's like, yeah, I didn't read it. So in my head, I'm like, we did all this just for this dude not to read the damn book? Incredible. Doesn't read the book. Then she basically says, You still want to be with me, right? I'm hot, right? Go read the book. And he does. Apparently. I don't know. He agrees to read the book so he can keep his girlfriend, which is what he was supposed to do for some reason. And that's your episode. I mean, I am watching these to keep the integrity of the John Cena filmography alive, but that was pointless. Those were pointless, but hey, it gave me a reason to talk about it on here with you all. And yeah, that is our episode of WrestleCinema, episode 3 in the books. I hope you liked it. I hope you had fun with me on this journey of going over his first television appearances. He will, of course, have more, but we won't go over all of them. Well, the ones that I find important, we will. The cameos I find important, we will. We will only, if we do things that I'm not the biggest fan of, we're just going to do only the John Cena part. But we'll see. We got still so much more John Cena goodness to talk about. In our next episode, we will be reviewing and breaking down the movie Legendary. If you don't know what Legendary is starring John Cena, Danny Glover, and Patricia Clarkson. So if you don't know who Danny Glover is, you must be living under a rock, because Danny Glover, he's famous for Lethal Weapon. He was incredible in there. And then we got Patricia Clarkson. She's from Easy A, The Green Mile, a bunch of different movies. She's been around. And yeah, it's got John Cena. And I'll just tell you the synopsis I'm seeing here on IMDb. A book-smart teenager joins his high school wrestling team as a way to reunite with his surviving family members who split apart after the death of his father, a college wrestling legend 10 years ago. So, yeah, it's a drama sports movie. John Cena's first real dramatic role. I don't know how much John Cena is really in this movie, but he is listed, at the top of the marquee for this. He is the first one, so I'd imagine he must be in it a lot. From the looks of the poster, he is a wrestling coach. So we shall see. And I'm hoping to get someone to do this episode with me. I could do it on my own, but I might get somebody to do it with me. Don't know who. If anyone listening wants to do this episode with me, feel free to hit me up on my Instagram at WrestleCinema. Hit me up there if you want to be a part of the Legendary episode. But with all that being said, I hope you really enjoyed this. Hopefully we'll be back in about 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to do some research, of course, on the movie. Then I got to watch the movie. And before that, I got to figure out if I could get someone. But if not, you'll have me. Give me 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll be back talking about more John Cena stuff on WrestleCinema, the podcast talking about wrestlers who do movies and TV shows, who venture into acting. All right, I'm tired. It's been a while. It's been an hour. We've done this. Thank you so much. See ya on the next one. Peace.